Have you ever felt like your own mind is a runaway train, barreling down tracks you never laid, with no brakes in sight? You want to stop thinking, but the very act of trying to stop only makes the engine roar louder, like pressing the accelerator while screaming for silence. You lie in bed at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, analyzing a conversation from 3 years ago, every word, every pause, every facial expression dissected as if it holds the key to your worth. Or maybe you are standing at a crossroads in your life, paralyzed by a dozen different choices, terrified of making the wrong move, each option a mirror reflecting your deepest fears. We have all been there, trapped in the labyrinth of our own thoughts. We believe that if we just think a little harder, analyze a little deeper, we will finally find the peace we crave. But here is the ultimate paradox: you cannot think your way out of overthinking. It is like trying to wash off mud with muddy water. The harder you scrub, the dirtier you get, until you're drowning in a slurry of your own making. What if the secret to a quiet mind isn't about fighting your thoughts at all? What if the key is something completely counterintuitive, a twist so profound it feels like a betrayal of everything we've been taught? Zen Buddhism offers a mind-blowing secret to breaking this exhausting loop. It is called the Paradox of Action. It is the art of effortless doing, a way of living where you are fully engaged in the world, yet completely free from the mental noise that holds you back. Imagine moving through your day with the fluidity of water, adapting to every obstacle, filling every crack, flowing around every stone without a single moment of hesitation. No second guessing. No anxiety about the future. No regrets about the past. Just pure, unadulterated presence, like a river that knows exactly where to go without ever consulting a map. Today, we are going to dive deep into this ancient wisdom. We will explore why your brain gets trapped in these endless cycles of worry, and how the masters of Zen learned to step outside the cage of their own intellect. This isn't about sitting in silent meditation for hours on end, hoping your mind magically goes blank. It is about a fundamental shift in how you relate to your own consciousness. It is about discovering the quiet space that already exists inside you, beneath the roaring waves of your thoughts. If you are tired of being a prisoner to your own mind, if you are ready to stop calculating and start truly living, then stay with me. Let's look closely at the trap we build for ourselves every single day, brick by brick, thought by thought. We live in a world that worships intellect, that praises the relentless thinker, the strategist, the planner. From the moment we are young, we are taught that thinking is the ultimate tool for survival. We are told to plan, to analyze, to calculate every risk, to weigh every outcome. And so, we treat our minds like a supercomputer, constantly running simulations of the future and reviewing archives of the past, searching for patterns that may not exist. But what happens when the computer won't turn off? What happens when the tool becomes the master, and we are just its helpless operators? This is the tragedy of the modern mind. We have become addicted to thought, hooked on the dopamine hit of a new idea, the security of a well-laid plan. We believe that if we stop thinking, we will lose control, that chaos will flood in. But the truth is, overthinking is not a sign of control. It is a sign of deep fear. It is the mind's desperate attempt to guarantee a safe outcome in an inherently unpredictable universe, like trying to build a fortress out of sand against the tide. Think about a centipede. It walks perfectly on 100 legs, moving in flawless harmony across the forest floor without ever having to think about it. Each leg moves in sequence, a dance of instinct and grace. But what happens if you ask the centipede, how do you coordinate all those legs? The moment the centipede stops to analyze its own movement, it gets confused. It trips over its own feet. It becomes completely paralyzed, a tangle of limbs and confusion. This is exactly what we do to ourselves. We overanalyze our careers, our relationships, and our creative projects until we are completely stuck, frozen by the very tool meant to free us. We suffer more in our imagination than we ever do in reality. We paint vivid pictures of worst-case scenarios, the job loss, the breakup, the public humiliation, and then we react to those imaginary threats as if they are happening right now. Our bodies flood with stress hormones, our hearts race, and our energy drains away, all because of ghosts we created in our own heads. We think we are solving problems, but we are actually just creating a feedback loop of anxiety. The more we worry, the more we feel the need to think. The more we think, the more we find things to worry about. It is a spinning wheel that leads absolutely nowhere, a hamster wheel of the mind. We are trapped in a prison where we are both the inmate and the guard, the one who locks the door and the one who holds the key. How do we break the lock? How do we step out of this self-made maze? This is where the ancient wisdom of Zen steps in, offering a radical solution that sounds like absolute madness to the logical mind. Zen does not ask you to destroy your thoughts. It does not ask you to force your mind into a state of artificial silence, like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Instead, Zen introduces us to a concept known as mushin, which translates to no mind, and the closely related principle of runaway, or effortless action. Now, don't let these terms confuse you. No mind does not mean becoming a mindless zombie, shuffling through life without awareness. It does not mean you lose your intelligence. In fact, it is the exact opposite. It is a state of highly heightened awareness where your mind is so clear, so present, that action happens spontaneously, without the interference of ego or doubt. Think of a mirror. A mirror is the ultimate Zen master. When a red flower passes in front of it, the mirror reflects red perfectly, without judgment. When a blue bird flies past, the mirror reflects blue, without preference. The mirror does not say, "I wish the flower was blue," or "I want to hold on to the bird." It does not analyze the image, nor does it retain any trace of it once it is gone. It is perfectly empty, yet it responds perfectly to everything that appears before it, perfect reflection of the moment. This is the secret of the paradox of action. When you operate from this space of inner stillness, you do not need to think about what to do next. You simply respond to the moment, like a dancer moving to music they haven't heard yet. Your actions become a natural, flowing extension of the environment. You stop trying to push the river, instead, you let the river carry you, trusting its currents. In Western psychology, we sometimes call this being in the zone or the state of flow. It is that magical space where self-consciousness disappears, and your skills align perfectly with the challenge at hand. The athlete doesn't think about how to swing the bat, the musician doesn't think about where to place their fingers. The moment they start thinking, the magic is lost, replaced by hesitation and error. Zen teaches us that this flow state isn't just for elite performers or special moments. It is our natural state of being. To truly understand how this works, let us look at a classic Zen story, parable that has been passed down for centuries. It is a tale of two monks, Tanzan and Ekido, who were traveling together down a muddy road after a heavy rain. The path was treacherous, the mud deep and clinging. As they walked, they came to a place where the mud was incredibly deep, and there stood a beautiful young woman in a silk kimono, unable to cross. She was clearly distressed, her fine clothes at risk of ruin. Without a moment's hesitation, without a single thought of the rules or consequences, Tanzan went over to her, picked her up in his arms, and carried her over the mud, setting her down safely on the other side. The woman bowed in gratitude, and the monks continued on their journey. For the rest of the day, the two monks walked in silence, the only sound their footsteps on the wet earth. But Ekido was burning with anger and confusion. He was chewing on his thoughts, his mind spinning with judgment, replaying the scene over and over. Finally, as evening approached and they reached their destination, Ekido could no longer contain himself. He burst out, "Why did you do that? We are monks. We are sworn to avoid contact with women, especially young and beautiful ones. It is against our sacred vows. You have broken our most fundamental rule." Tanzan looked at his companion with calm, gentle eyes, his face serene. He smiled softly and said, "My friend, I put that woman down hours ago at the side of the road. Why are you still carrying her? This simple story captures the entire tragedy of the human mind. Tanzan acted spontaneously. He saw a human being in need, he responded to the moment with compassion, and then he let it go. He did not carry the memory, the judgment, or the worry. His mind was as clear as the mirror after the image passes. Ekido, on the other hand, did not touch the woman, yet he carried her in his mind for miles, for hours, for the rest of the day. He allowed his thoughts to create a storm of anger and self-righteousness, completely missing the beauty of the journey they were walking. How many times a day do we do exactly what Ekido did? We carry our past mistakes, our future worries, and our unresolved arguments across miles of our lives. We drag them into our meals, into our sleep, and into our relationships. So, how do we apply this profound Zen wisdom to our hectic, modern lives, to the emails, the deadlines, the traffic, the family obligations? How do we stop carrying the weight of the world in our heads, especially when the world seems so heavy? The first step is to recognize the difference between useful thinking and useless overthinking. Useful thinking is focused and purposeful. It is when you sit down to plan your budget, solve a specific problem, or write an article. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Once the task is done, the thinking stops. Useless overthinking, however, is a dog chasing its own tail, going in circles without ever catching anything. It is repetitive, anxious, and completely unproductive. When you catch yourself spinning in these endless mental loops, you must learn to drop the anchor. And your anchor is always the present moment. Zen offers us a simple, powerful practice. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you wash the dishes, make the washing of the dishes the most important thing in the universe. Feel the warm water on your hands, the texture of the sponge, the slickness of the soap. Smell the citrus of the detergent. Listen to the clinking of the plates, the sound of water swirling down the drain. This sounds incredibly simple, yet it is one of the most difficult things for a modern mind to do. We are almost never where our bodies are. Our bodies are in the kitchen, but our minds are in next week's meeting. Our hands are on the steering wheel, but our thoughts are in a conversation from yesterday. By consciously bringing your attention back to your physical senses, you cut the fuel line to your overthinking mind. You realize that in the actual present moment, there is rarely a problem. The problem only exists when you project your mind into the future or drag it into the past. Another powerful technique is to embrace the art of the first draft of life. Stop trying to make your actions perfect before you take them. Overthinking is often just perfectionism in disguise, a fear of imperfection that keeps us frozen. Give yourself permission to act clumsily, to speak imperfectly, to make mistakes. Step out of your head and into your body. When you feel the urge to overanalyze a decision, count down from 3, and just take the first small step. As we bring this journey to a close, take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of your body pressing against the chair or the ground beneath you. Right here, right now, in this very second, you do not have to solve any problems. You do not have to plan your future. You do not have to fix your past. You are simply here, breathing, alive. This is the ultimate truth of Zen. The peace you are searching for is not something you have to build, earn, or think your way into. It is not a destination to reach after years of effort. It is already here, waiting for you to notice it. It is the silent space behind your thoughts, the stillness between the notes of music. It is the vast, blue sky that remains completely untouched, no matter how many dark clouds drift across it. The clouds are your thoughts, your worries, your anxieties. They come, and they go. They are temporary, passing phenomena. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky, the infinite, unchanging awareness in which all thoughts arise and dissolve. When you realize this, the entire game changes. You no longer have to fight your thoughts or try to make them disappear. You simply let them drift by, while you remain rooted in the stillness of your own being. You become the quiet observer, watching the dance of life without getting swept away by it. This is the paradox of action. By letting go of the need to control everything, you finally gain true mastery. By stopping the struggle to quiet your mind naturally becomes still. So, as you step back into the busyness of your daily life, remember the lesson of Tanzan and Aikido. When a task is finished, put it down. When a conversation is over, let it go. Do not carry the weight of yesterday into the promise of today. Walk lightly. Respond honestly. Trust the flow. You have everything you need to navigate this beautiful, chaotic world, not through the exhausting effort of your intellect, but through the quiet, effortless wisdom of your heart. Thank you for walking this path with me today.